Hello, everyone.
So
Um, why does it feel like we haven't seen each other in so long, or we haven't talked in so long,
I know.
but
I
it was
know.
just last week? I feel like there's been a month
I know.
happening last week, and I don't know if it's because there's just so much happening with like everyone being back in a routine,
Yeah.
kids being back to school, traffic being absolutely insane right now. Like, I don't know.
There's just been a lot. It's so the reality is I was gone for just 1 week.
I know.
And I think we talked during that week. Like it's not like we didn't like connect at all. But it's
Yeah.
just like I think I don't know. We're just not. We weren't like we didn't have like a pulled focus. I think I like what, and we were usually like we meet, we talk, and then we're talking
Yes.
about all the other things. But it was just like we'd meet briefly on something, and then it was just really few and far between
Yep.
touch points. So I
Yeah.
feel like we
Yeah.
just didn't really get to like the good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. But anyways, we're really happy to be back,
Yeah.
happy to be recording a podcast for all of you. I think it's also because last week I did an episode with a guest.
Yes,
So
which
it
was
was,
so good. We just need to pause there for a second. Like that was such a good conversation, like heartbreaking
yeah.
conversation, but like
Mhm.
also like full of hope and just like all the good things. But just it was heavy for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but wow, what a story! And I'm so glad that you shared that.
Yeah, and I think if you're listening to this and you missed that episode from last week, I really invite you to go back and listen to episode 39, and then the one from last week, 69. So basically, the one from last week is the continuity from the one from last year, and it's just if you're going through anything really that is really difficult in your life, this episode, this story is going to give you hope that there is a life, outside of that pain, and that you can turn that into something powerful and meaningful. Um, and so, yeah, no, it was
Yeah, it
good.
was definitely about resiliency and just, you can come
Absolutely.
out on the other side of like crazy tragedy and
Yeah.
you can still be a fully formed, beautiful person on the other side of it.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, what a journey.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. So, we're not going to say more. Go have
No.
a listen. Um, But today we want to talk about judgment.
Yeah.
Not so much like the fear of judgment from others, but more about like the judgment that like what we do to ourselves and how that is reflecting in other relationships that we have, or other interaction that we have with people.
And I mean, almost say even with that, like the fear of judgment that we have of others is ultimately just the judgment we're placing on ourselves, right? Like ultimately, because we
Yeah,
don't know what other people think. We have no
yeah,
idea what other
exactly.
people, but we know the judgment we place on ourselves. And we can twist that and spin that to go, oh, this is what they're going to say. But really,
Yeah,
like if you weren't judging yourself at all, that wouldn't even be a train of thought,
right.
you
Yes.
know?
And it's like, I know I'm guilty of that. Like, I always say like, "Oh, I'm so hard on myself." And it is a fact. Like, that's been a thing for me, like, all my life. I'm just very, judgmental about the way I do things, how quickly I do things, like what kind of outcome I produce. Like, I've just always been very like, oh, it needs to be perfect. Like, I can do better than this. Like, what is this? And I never really like realized how the way I'm being hard on myself ultimately is how like I'm judging other people. Even if
Yeah.
I think I'm not, even if I think I'm just being like that with me, now that I think of it and that we're having this conversation, I'm like, it's not just towards me because like whenever someone does something, ultimately if I'm judging myself for this, I'm going to judge that person too.
Right. And I've had this conversation so many times, because I have people in my life who are very similar to you in the sense that, like, I think so they're caring, loving, sweet people. And they would say it the exact same way that you just said it, is that you're really hard on yourself. Like,
Yeah.
you hold yourself to this standard that is borderline impossible.
Yeah.
And so, there's like, obviously, like, I have so much compassion for that because, like, that's tiring.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I've had these conversations with those people in my life to say, but you need to understand how that affects the people around you as well. Like,
Mm,
you need to get to the root of that judgment, because the judgment is, yes, it's how you judge yourself, but the impact of that is that you ultimately are making others feel judged as well. And like, you are, and I say this to these people and they're like, no, 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 I'm definitely not judging people. It's not like everyone can do their own thing. It's only for me. But if you are judging yourself, you do believe that there is a right and wrong way to do things.
yeah. There's a standard
There is a standard, and you're either meeting that standard or you're
or
not
you're
meeting
not.
that standard.
Yeah.
So when you look at other people, there's no way that you're not, even if it's with the best intentions to be like, yes, that person is so great, I love their home, I love how they dress, I love how they work, whatever. Like, that person has an A+ from you, but everyone
Yes.
else, where do they fall? And when you are constantly holding yourself to that standard, the people in your life do question, for sure. And this isn't just
Mm,
to you, this is to everyone. Like, if you are judging yourself so harshly, the people in your life definitely are wondering, like, okay, well, where do I fall in that scale, right? In that marking
right.
grade that they have.
Right. And it's also like I think it's like and you let me know what you think, but I think it's like connected to you know how I talked about my expectations
Mhm.
towards like others so
Mhm.
many times since you and I like got closer, I've been telling you how like people are just like letting me down. Like I feel like they're not meeting my expectations. And I think like now that we're talking about this, it's because I hold myself like with like such high standards and like I expect so much greatness from myself that like ultimately if like the people around me don't meet that standard that I put for myself, I'm going to be disappointed.
100%.
Like
100%. It's even as something as simple, like something I've noticed is, like when you go into people's houses, I've shared this with you, like when you go into people's houses and the first thing they do is explain to you why it's messy, right? They
yeah,
need to justify or validate the reasons to, before you judge me, let me explain to you why it's all messy. But like, so
right.
I go into my friend's house and I'm like, first of all, I don't give a shit what your house looks like. Like, you know what I mean? Like, can I just sit down? Like, that's what I care about. Can I just be like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I just want to talk to you. I don't give a shit about what's happening around me. And if your house is messy, like, yeah, I believe there's a really good reason for it. Like, I
yeah,
don't, but they would think that, like, oh, it's not because I'm lazy or because, I'm like, I never thought that. But
I know.
but it also, on the other side of that, it does make you think, okay, like when they come into my house,
Hmm.
do I need to give them the reasons and justify, right?
Yes.
And so, like, you do have to always question yourself. And I'm really trying to be as aware, because we're all guilty of this. Like,
Yeah.
we are
Yes.
all guilty of there. I don't think it's not a part of the human experience to not have some form of judgment. Like, I don't care who you are. Like, we
Mm,
all have our biases and things like that. Like, that's just the way it is. But the key is to just be self-aware about it, right? Like,
mm,
really, like, taking note of, so when when I have people come into my home, like, even though I want to explain, I have two
yes.
children and my husband is a shift worker and like things are crazy and like whatever. I really try to stop myself, because ultimately I want them to understand and like them to feel comfortable that when I go into their space and it's a disaster, they don't need to do that. And that's just like
Different.
one small example, right? Like your house situation.
And I think it's like I think it can be different, obviously, for different people. Like for me, in my life, like how should I say this? I don't really care about like I'm not like a person like I don't have OCD about my
Mhm.
place being like extremely clean.
And organized and all that. Yeah.
Like I don't like if it's dirty, but if I have something that is not where it's supposed to be, like it's not like I don't really care.
Yes.
But for me, it might be more like I don't know. If I go somewhere and someone is like, we're at work, for example, and someone looks like they just rolled out of bed,
Yeah.
that's where I might be like, oh, like,
Couldn't
you
couldn't
know,
couldn't get it together this
yeah,
morning.
right? So, because that's how I would be for myself. And
Right.
like, so I think there's like obviously different areas of your life where like you might hold more judgment than like others.
Right.
Um,
Right. Yeah.
but yeah, it's really interesting.
It's interesting, but it also just comes down, like I said, like it comes down to self awareness, but also like the thing that's going to nip that is really around compassion for yourself. Like, I do think that I have people in my life that I think are wonderful people who are also judgmental people. And
Mm,
that is not, and it's not because they're not kind, and it's just to your point, like they're hard on themselves. It's just their viewpoint on how life should be, the the right path of things. There's a right way and there's a wrong way. And I do just believe like having some compassion for yourself and letting things go for yourself. I'm not saying like don't have standards for yourself, right? But it's
mm,
how we criticize ourselves if we don't meet those standards, right? Like that's ultimately where the judgment comes in. And so if you are just releasing some of that and have compassion for yourself, I do really believe that you will have more compassion for other people as well.
mm, mhm. And I think like once you understand that piece and you realize that it is something that we do as humans, it it's maybe going to give you more empathy towards like others and maybe you'll be more understanding of like how they're doing their like lives and how they just navigate everyday things like it's just
Yeah.
like
Like, we'll
yeah,
just use this as an example. Like you using the like people getting to work. Like, remember when I went to work with my shirt on inside out? Like
yeah,
that's so right.
but
Like
that was
my
cute though.
yes, it was. However, my mornings are like hot mess express over here. Okay, so
Yeah,
like that is something on for me. Like to your point, we all have our things that we almost like what we care about, what we don't care about, right? Like
right.
for me, like I was talking to somebody the other day and they were dropping their child off at daycare and they were having a meltdown and they could not stop talking about how they felt other people were looking at them,
Oh,
right? So we all have our things because what I said to her is I was like, I wouldn't have even, that wouldn't have even registered for me. I see kids all the time at the daycare freaking out or whatever. And like
yeah.
moms having to like run away from their kids. So like to avoid the absolute meltdown. And I'm like, that wouldn't have even crossed my mind. Right. Cause
But
like,
for her it was a
yeah,
thing.
but it's because I have compassion around that piece. Like I get it, right? It's hard. Your kid doesn't want you to go, or they're having a like. I understand that. So
Yeah.
for me, it wouldn't have registered. But like, so we all have our different things that it's like what's okay, what's not okay. But
Mm,
ultimately, it just comes down to like trying to have more understanding for people. And
yeah.
if we do that, like it's all vice versa, right? Like if we have more understanding for ourselves, we'll have more understanding for other people.
Mm. Yeah, that's so good. And just to give everyone, a little story that we don't always have our shit together. Um, Paula came to work with her shirt. How do you
Yeah.
say it? Upside down.
What was it? That's a good question. No,
So,
it
so
was
it
in
wasn't
no, it
like
was inside out. It was inside out. That's what it
it
was.
was. Yes.
I'm
So
backwards. No.
it
it was It was a mess.
So the tag was not in the front, but it was completely inside out. So I could see like the seams like, sticking out. So I'm like, oh, like you put your shirt, inside out. And she's like, oh, yeah, this is a reflection of my morning. Anyway, so we keep going. And we're like going for a quick walk, and she stops at the bathroom, and she like went in there like specifically to put her shirt properly. Comes back outside the bathroom, and I'm like looking at her and I'm like, didn't you just go in there to like put your shirt the proper way? And she's like, yeah, I did. I'm like, no, Paula, you did not. It was the exact same way. She went in there, took it off. I don't know what she did, but put it back the exact same way. And she's like, you know what? Screw it. Like she just left it.
I just, you know what? Here's the people that know me best is like, that is so on brand. That is like the most Paula thing. Like, especially that I went in to change it and came back and did. Like, I
Yeah.
did. I took it off. I rearranged it. Like,
Yeah.
what kind of debacle I got myself into, I don't know, but came out thinking like things are great. And
Yeah.
like, that's very on brand for me. So, like, again, like, there's just certain things that, like, if somebody's coming into work and they don't have on the like two matching shoes, I'm like, I get it, right? Like we all have our things where we're just
Yeah.
like, you got to let it go. But like, it's the goal is to be that way. I think in every aspect of our life, like just let things go, let things be, and
Yeah.
it's not to say you don't have standards, but like, you know, I also think we can just stop taking ourselves so seriously, right? Like it's fine. Like lower your bar a little bit when it comes to the criticizing. It's you know what I
Right.
mean? Like have your shit together, have your standards, have your values, but like also when things don't match up perfectly,
Yeah.
let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. You're going to feel so much lighter, I think, if you give yourself that freedom to just be and give yourself some grace. And in return, you're going to feel so much better as well, because you're not going to judge people
That's
for,
right.
right? Like you're going to, we always talk about this. If you want like, more positive in your life, you need to think more positive,
Yeah.
and like you need to vibrate at a great frequency. And the emotions of great frequencies are like love and joy and fulfillment and happiness. And so if you want to attract more positive, more opportunities, and great experiences, like stop judging yourself and stop criticizing, and looking at other people and thinking like, oh, like they don't have it together, and they're not up to my standard. Like just let them. The
Yeah.
Bill Robbins, let them. And
Yeah.
just be content and be happy with where you are, what you have, and you're going to attract more of that.
And I think too, like if I think about like relationships, like if you think about the people that you're closest with, that you're truly close with, like I'm like, I'm talking about your very best friends, I'm talking about your
Right.
partner, I'm talking about like your children, like the people that you are just like the most close with that you trust so much, like that judgment piece is really not there. Like they see you at your worst,
Yeah.
vice versa, and you're there for each other. And that's what that means, right? Like when you let people, when you want to have rich relationships, it means to let that judgment go, not just for them, but for yourself, that you can be vulnerable and that you can show all the messy parts and the struggles and all that stuff. Like you can't have these really beautiful relationships if you aren't willing to let that go, right?
Mhm.
So it's really important that we are just like, I think just taking a step back and just catching those thoughts as they happen, right? Because even if you don't have those same judgment for those people that you love so dearly, and you're going out into the world, but you're still holding other people to that standard, like what are the relationships that you're not letting flourish because of that? What aren't you letting in? Because it is like a wall when you judge yourself or when you
Yeah.
judge others. It is
Yeah.
a wall. You're creating like a barricade around you where you aren't letting people really see the real you, but you're also not being compassionate and really giving them a chance to let their guard down. Right.
Mm,
So I just think it's interesting. It's just something that I've been noticing coming up in conversations where I'm like, wow, like people are truly so harsh on themselves. But it often just makes me take a step back to say, wow, like, how are they looking at the rest of the world if that is their standard, right? That's their bar
right.
that they are looking at for themselves. And so I think it's
Mm.
just to like catch it, just catch it when it's happening and say, can I let this go? Like, am I really doing that? It's just the self awareness piece.
Yeah, and I think, like, also, like, I've had situations in my life where I would look at someone's actions and I'd be like, "What are they doing? Like, what the hell?"
Mhm.
And I think it's important to, like, realize that not everyone is able to operate at the same level that you are. Some people are maybe more self-aware in certain areas and less in others, and the way that you would react to certain situations, maybe they're just not capable to handle it the same way. Like, I think it really opened my eyes to, like, how I look at people and the way that they manage the situations in their lives as opposed to how I would manage it.
Yeah,
Just yeah, just giving you more of an understanding that not everyone is, have the same toolbox. And
yeah,
not everyone can deal with situations the way that you would do, and that's okay. Like, just
exactly.
let it go.
Yeah. And I think too, like, once you come, so it is something that I've been really cognizant of because, like I said, it's a lot of conversations I've had in my life for like many years. It's just always something that we've kind of talked about. And you'll, once you come to the other side of it, you're always going to have that initial, again, like bias, like that initial judgment. Like, again, it's who you're not human. I think if you don't have what you like, what you don't
Yes.
like, the what you think is good, what you don't. But when you catch it and it happens, and I'll give you an example. Like, I saw something yesterday on Instagram of someone, anyways, doesn't matter. But I was like, my initial reaction, I was like, oh, that's a lot. That person's really trying for something here. Okay.
Right.
Like, really, Um, but then when you catch it in that moment, you're ultimately such a happier person because that my next thought was like, yeah, but they're you can tell they're so happy. Like, who am
Mm,
I to judge what they're doing? Like, they look like they're having the time of their life. They look like they're so happy. Good
yeah,
for them. And when
yeah,
you can catch it like that, and like, isn't that the better way to be? Just to be like, yeah, like, let people live. Like, if I'm doing something and I'm putting myself out there in some kind of way, like, I want to do it because it makes me happy and I don't want to have to care what other people think, and good for them for doing that too, right? Like,
yeah.
it just changes like your brain chemistry when you can let
Mhm.
that go, and ultimately you are just like a happier person when you can just release it.
Right, right. So I think it's a good reminder as well when you have that fear of, like, judgment from other people, like, if there is any judgment towards, like, you or what you're doing or what you're putting out there, it really is a them problem and not a you problem. Because it is really what we just talked about. Like, if they're judging you, it's because they're judging themselves for no
1,000,000%. Like we need to say that again.
reason.
No,
You
like,
say it.
it's about themselves. It's about them, right? Like, if
Yes.
you're feeling judged, but also to your point, like, if you are, like we said at the very beginning, if you're fearing judgment of others, it's, you don't know what is happening in other people's brains. It is
Yes.
only the judgment for yourself,
Yeah.
right? So like, it's either, if other people are judging you, it's about them, and if you're judging other people, it's about you.
Yeah.
You know?
Like,
And
if they're judging you, if they truly are, it's because you're doing something that they don't have the tools or the knowledge or the capacity to
mhm,
comprehend right now.
yeah,
And it's easier to judge than to actually take action or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
100%. And again, like I said, like once you come to the other side of that,
yeah,
it's like it's such a better place to be because ultimately like you want other people to be happy, you want other people to live, and that like energy, I do
yeah,
believe like it flows back to you. Like I that might sound like woo woo for other people, but I ultimately
yes,
do believe like it really positions you in a better place to get to another level, to like be happier, to get to meeting your goals faster, things like that, because ultimately you're just not coming from a space of fear and negativity. It's really just around like, I'm doing this for me. I want other people to do what they want to do for them. Like,
yeah, I agree.
yeah,
Mm. Such a powerful reminder.
yeah. And we could all use it every now and then for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So hopefully, if you listen to this episode, hopefully this is going to, you know, bring you back to life and give you some things to be self-aware about, and just help you navigate life a bit better.
That's the goal.
That's a goal. All right. So thank you so much, everyone. We will talk next week.
Bye.